All right, it's January 2nd, 2025, and today is day 2 of our nonstop coverage of this developing major winter storm. We've got over a foot of snow coming for some of you, a potentially pretty bad ice storm coming for others, and a severe weather outbreak coming for some people in the south, especially around the Mississippi River. So this storm is literally going to bring everything all at once. Confidence in significant winter precipitation is increasing rapidly here. We're up to 90% officially in the red area there from St. Louis over to Louisville, Kentucky. This is where we have the best chance of seeing some sort of significant precipitation, like maybe more than 4 inches of snow, maybe more than a quarter inch of ice. This is where we are pretty certain that's going to happen. And also, it's pretty much a shoe-in for all of the people in the light blue as well. We're a little bit less confident in the outside areas here, but remember, the models are still kind of up in the air and those shifts could still happen, but we're starting to nail down where the hardest hit areas are going to be. Let's take a look at that GFS ensemble model again, and this is an averaging model, so it's a little bit more laid back. It's not as interesting to look at as some of the deterministic models, but it's a really realistic look at what the models are projecting right now. We're going to have potentially heavy freezing rain breaking out here in central Missouri as early as 7 a.m. Sunday morning. Also, this could start late Saturday evening as well. Heavy snow is going to be starting off in the backside over here in Nebraska. Light snow potentially reaching from portions of South Dakota all the way over to Indiana at this point. Also, we're going to have that warm, moist air kind of coming up out in front of the low pressure center, and that's going to bring about some showers and thunderstorms. Now, those storms are going to get strong to potentially severe Sunday evening down here, especially from Memphis down to Shreveport, maybe back towards Houston as well. But I think that the main problem that we're going to have out of this storm during this time period is the incredibly dangerous ice storm that will be unfolding here. Once again, we're going to have a big area of mixed precipitation right under the low pressure center here. It's going to fall as a mixture of rain, sleet, and snow for others, but there's going to be a thin band that receives rain, and that rain's going to freeze on impact, and that's going to be an ice storm. Right now, it's looking like that's likely to happen in southern Missouri, extreme southern portions of Illinois, southern Kentucky, maybe even over there into portions of southeastern Kentucky and portions of West Virginia and Virginia as well. North of the rain snow line, though, we're going to have heavy snow, literally very heavy snow at times in Ohio, portions of northern Indiana. Honestly, it's going to be really close. This is going to be a hard system to forecast. The areas that receive ice are just going to be a few miles south of the areas that receive the heaviest snow. So it's going to be hard to nail down who exactly gets what. But you can see here that we still do expect the storm to weaken significantly as it moves off to the east. So the hardest hit areas are going to be right in here, but there's still going to be some snow that affects the mid-Atlantic regions. The Appalachian Mountains still expect to see a significant amount of snow, but the farther east it goes, the less oomph it has. Okay, here's the latest from the GFS ensembles, and this parameter shows us where we've got the biggest probabilities of seeing more than 6 inches of snow, and buddy, we're over 70 to 80% right there in that little thin band north of St. Louis. So very high confidence that you guys are going to be in the snow zone, okay? If you're north of St. Louis, if you're around Cincinnati points north, right now it's looking like you guys are probably going to be the ones that receive snow and not rain, okay? Just south of that, though, maybe around Louisville, maybe around Paducah, Kentucky, maybe around closer to the boot heel of Missouri, that's where we are most concerned about the ice. Right now, if you're in the yellows or oranges here, it's pretty much safe to say we're in Snowtown, baby. And some of the totals that these models are putting out are actually quite significant. Now, this is probably on the higher end of what you could expect, but this is a national blend of models. This puts the Euro, the GFS, the Canadian, everything together, and what it's showing here is about a foot of snow or more by January 10th, potentially on the ground by the time this storm is all said and done in St. Louis. It's showing close to 10 inches of snow in Indianapolis, Dayton, Ohio, close to a foot of snow, Cincinnati, same thing for you. And then, of course, we've got some higher totals there in the higher elevations of the Appalachian Mountains in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And then there's a couple hot spots off the lakes here as well, as the lake effect snow is going to continue to be a problem starting yesterday and moving through the duration of this storm as well. But yeah, on the high end, I think that this area right here could see 6 to 12 inches of snow. It's not out of the question. The hardest to forecast areas are going to be right here on the edge of that, okay? So the southern side of the heavy snow totals, those are going to get cut down a lot if you get a significant amount of sleet, freezing rain, rain at any point during this storm. That could change a foot of snow to only 3 inches with also a third of an inch of ice and, maybe an inch of sleet. So it's going to be a messy storm probably in Louisville. Also, our national blend of models is showing where we could see the most ice. Now, this is not necessarily on the high end. In fact, this is probably a conservative forecast here, but you can clearly see where the highest concentration of ice accumulation is expected, more than likely over here in southeastern portions of Missouri. I agree with that, and if you live in that area, now is the time to prepare. This is definitely the kind of storm that will cause power outages, and there are some models that are showing way more than a half inch of ice. Okay, so once again, ice is going to be the hardest thing to figure out here. I'm not confident yet in putting out an official forecast of how much ice we're expected to see, but somebody in southern Missouri, somebody in Kentucky, somebody maybe even as far east as into the mountains of West Virginia and Virginia is going to see a significant ice storm that has the capability of bringing down large tree limbs, power lines, and disrupting travel for an extended period of time. And it's likely going to be somewhere in those darker pink zones there, so just get ready for it. We'll nail down the forecast as we go forward. And like we were talking about in the last video, today and tomorrow, we're going to have this insane jet stream driving down frigid cold air, especially in the upper levels, to prime the atmosphere really for a significant winter storm. There's our trough. This is the divot that's going to cause all of our problems here. This is going to bring heavy rain to the west coast today and tomorrow. It's going to bring some heavy snow to the Cascades and Sierras. It's going to bring snow to the Intermountain West. But over the Rockies, it kind of almost disappears a little bit. You'll definitely feel it there in the higher elevations of Arizona and New Mexico on Saturday, but it reappears as a surface low pressure system becomes more evident here around Kansas and Oklahoma on Sunday. And that's where the storm really comes together. It takes that surface pull to really get the moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico. And then this is when we're going to be talking about our major winter storm. And just look at how pronounced this trough gets as we go later into the day on Sunday. This is why we are concerned about severe weather. This right here is a very classic sign for a severe weather outbreak in the deep south in January. So right at the same time as we're getting ice and snow in Missouri and Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, down here in Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, maybe even back towards Texas, we're going to be talking about storms. We're going to see a fast-moving squall line of strong storms with damaging winds and potentially even some prefrontal supercells that bring about tornadoes. And the tornado threat could even persist into the evening hours, so we might have some nighttime tornadoes as well. This is going to be something that we're watching very closely. And as of right now, it looks like we're going to be live streaming probably all day on Sunday, and it'll start off as a snow and ice coverage and end up being a tornado kind of coverage event. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Storm Prediction Center's on the same page here, highlighting an area from Memphis to Little Rock to Houston, all the way over towards Tuscaloosa, Alabama, under a rare day 4 slight risk of severe weather. This will likely be a day 3 slight risk or enhanced risk tomorrow. This is something that we've got to watch very closely as we go forward. Down here, same as the people who are expecting ice, I would go ahead and prepare for a significant night of severe weather on Sunday. Be prepared to lose power. Be prepared to potentially have to take shelter as well. And since we're talking about potential nocturnal tornadoes and severe weather and stuff in January, it's been a while since I've talked about these. You want to help support our channel? We don't have any sponsors or anything today. Why not do something that's mutually beneficial, okay? These NOAA weather radios here could potentially save your life. These things work off of batteries, or you can plug them in. They've got this antenna here that doesn't rely on cell service or internet. They pick up a radio signal from your local National Weather Service, and essentially these things act like smoke detectors for your home, but for tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, and flash floods and stuff like that. So even on a night where we expect to see severe weather, you can sleep soundly knowing that this thing's going to wake you up so that you can take shelter. It's amazing to me that we require people to have carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors in their house, but we don't require people to have these. These could definitely save a lot of lives, and I think that every household should have one. You can pick them up at your local Target or Walmart, but once again, if you want to help support our channel, help us fund the storm chasers, help us fund all this stuff that we're doing to make the channel better for you, then please consider going to shopryanhall.com. There's a link in the top of the description, and getting yourself a NOAA weather radio today. We've got accessories for them as well, pillow shakers, flashing lights, whatever you need to help you wake up whenever these things start going off. But don't worry, the sound on them alone is enough. Like, they're definitely going to wake you up, and they're programmable, customizable, and all all that good stuff. So yeah, shopryanhall.com. Get yourself a weather alert radio today. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. We're still on board with a major winter storm. Nothing has really changed, but as you can tell, we've got a little bit more data now. We're talking more about specific snowfall totals. We're talking more about timing and mode for our severe weather. Tomorrow, we'll have more detailed information on that stuff, and I think we'll also be able to be a little bit more detailed about the ice. And I think tomorrow's video, we're going to focus heavily on the ice, as this looks like it could be the most dangerous part of this storm, okay? So make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on, spread the word, share these videos out there so everybody is aware of what's going on. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.